This right here, all of this, this is the Tower of Death. This is what I've been working on for a couple weeks now. First week was figuring out if this was even possible. Second week was figuring out the cost, which didn't really go so well because I didn't really get that figured out until I was done and realized that I had spent way too much money. And week 3 was getting it all together. Granted, I already had the game systems. All I really needed to buy was these 2 boxes right here. 3 boxes, I mean. And a bunch of cables. Yeah, a lot of cables. But other than that, I pretty much already had all of this. But total cost to me was a couple $100. But before we get into all that, let me actually show you what it does. Alright, so let's get started. First with the Atari, then let's go PS2 on, thank you, PS3, N64, Genesis, NES, PS1, and GameCube. Oh, I'm so gonna burn my house down. Alright, let's turn on, oh, TV's already on. There's the PS2 you can see is already running. Where did I put the remote? Oh. We got some Final Fantasy X in the PS2 right now. Let's wait for it to start up. Alright, that's good enough. Now with my little handy dandy remote here, let's just go BAM! PS3. I feel like playing some PS3 games. Of course my TV has to go apeshit, but alright, and then we're gonna walk over to our box over here. Actually, first let me grab my remote. Alrighty. So now we're gonna go input select, SD input, and bam, there's N64. Now we'll just push a button on this switch box and bam! NES. Let's see what this one does. PS1. And let's see what this one does over here, and get ready for GameCube. And then we will take the remote here one more time and go to TV. Sadly, the Atari and the Genesis are not hooked up right now, but this would be the Atari. And then this little remote here, I would push A and it would go to the Genesis. And there we go. So as you can see, the overall goal was to be able to hook every system up and be able to play any one of them without having to touch any of their wires. And I believe I have accomplished that goal. And as an extra bonus, I can go ahead and go to record video here. Let me switch my TV back over to components. Whoops, that's not component. There's the PS3, and there's the PS3 being recorded. And then I can push this little button right here and go BAMO. PS2 being recorded. And then I can open up Pinnacle, go over to import, and BAMO. There's all the SD systems being recorded, including the GameCube, N64, PS1, and NES. If you don't believe me, hold on. That's the GameCube. There's PS1. There's NES. And there's N64. All ready to be recorded. Alright, so now that everything is turned off and my house is no longer a huge fire hazard, let me go through and show you how all this works. Now first, here's the TV obviously. Let's turn the TV around. Here's all the cables going up to my TV. It looks like a lot, but it's actually not. Let me grab my phone, actually. Give us some light. Alrighty, so as you can see, this cable actually is my PC. I can also put my PC through my TV. I probably should have showed that, but it's no big deal. This is HDMI. This is my cable, my actual TV cable, AT&T U-verse. These are component cables. This is where the HD comes from, and under them are the SD cables. That's where the SD comes from. And then this is the actual, what do they call these? I just lost the name. I want to say aux cable. That might be completely wrong. But that is for the Genesis and the Atari. Alrighty, so let's turn this back around. And we don't need that flashlight anymore. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at our power cables here. As you can see, this is a complete mess. 2 power strips, both plugged into that wall jack over there. As you can see, everything is labeled: NES, PVR, SD switch. The HD switch is over here, so SD switch, HD switch. In the middle is the PS1. And then over here we got the N64. This one is the PS2. This one is the PS3. This right here is my USB hub, which is over here, which holds all my USBs. I think that's actually about it over here. Sitting over here unplugged is the Atari and the Genesis, because they're freaking monsters and have no room to be plugged in. That is why I couldn't show you guys that, but it works, trust me. The Atari is actually a little bit bipolar, but I can get it to show up. It doesn't look beautiful, but if I actually plug it in directly into my TV, it looks better than if it goes through the box. I don't know why, but I'll try to figure that out later. This is my PS3 charge station. It's over here. It's not plugged in at the moment. This is my cable, which isn't plugged in at the moment. And this is the cable switch box, which does the Genesis and the Atari. Doesn't need to be plugged in because that isn't plugged in. Over here, back behind here, you probably can't see it very well, but there's one more wall jack that holds my TV, and this thing, which is my iPod stereo. And I forgot to mention, when I was over here, this is the HD PVR. This is HD recording. Here are the cables. I'll explain that later. Now onto the game systems. Atari 2600. ET is sitting in there right now. PS2. Final Fantasy X's in there. PS3. I think Black Ops is in there. I'm actually not sure. Genesis, nothing's in there right now. Here are my 3 boxes. I'll explain that in a second. N64 with Super Mario 64. NES with Mega Man 2. PlayStation with Parappa the Rapper. GameCube with Super Smash Brothers. And there are my PS3 games. Now, back to the boxes. This is how everything works. Now, I'll try to show you the backs. I don't want to pull them out because then things get unplugged and then it's a big headache. So I'll try to show you what it looks like in the back here. Let's see if I can flip this around. I have no idea if you guys can see that or not. Yeah, I'm sure that looks pretty crazy. Anyways, this is basically how it works. This is the HD switch box, this is the SD switch box, and this is the cable switch box. How it works is all these game systems, we'll start with the HD. These two go to the HD, the PS2 and the PS3. They both go through separate cables into the HD box. Then this selects, which I also do with the remote, this selects which input I want. Input 1 is PS3, input 2 is PS2. So it switches in between the two. Then there's one output that goes from this all the way around into the HD PVR. So right here, this is the input, I believe. Don't actually remember. One of these is the input, the other one's the output. They're both component cables. The input comes from the HD box. The output goes into the TV. And so with the switch box, I can switch between the PS2 and the PS3 on the fly. Here's the SD switch box. This is N64. This is NES. This is PS1. This is GameCube. This is nothing. Once again, all the game systems go through the back here, up into this box. Then this box comes out and goes into my Dazzle through these cables. Then the Dazzle goes from here through there to my USB hub, and then up to my computer. Now, this box is special because it has two outputs. See, the HD PVR, how that works is it goes game system, HD PVR, TV. Well, the Dazzle works differently. The game systems go to the box, which goes to the Dazzle, and the game systems go to the box, then go out a second output into the TV. So this baby has 5 inputs and 2 outputs. That's a lot. And it actually wasn't too bad price-wise though. I think it was like 35 bucks. I don't know. Anyways, then this right here is my cable switch box. Normally the A or the B lights up, but it's not plugged in. To the back there go 2 cables, kind of like TV cables. They come from the Genesis and the Atari. They go into that, and then that goes straight into the TV. So that's how the boxes work. I think that's about it. Down here we have the PS3 games. Right here we have Atari games, and then NES games. And at the top we have Genesis games. Over here we have actually movies. And then PS2 games. And GameCube games at the bottom. And then up here we have PS1 games and N64 games. And making sure I didn't forget anything. I don't think so. I think that's about it. So yeah, if you have any questions about how any of this works, I would be happy to explain in more detail, because this stuff interests me and I'm just happy that I actually got it all to work. So yeah, comment and rate, and actually what I'd also like you to do is comment on which game systems you'd like me to play. Now that I have all of them hooked up, which game systems would you like me to go back and relive? I think the NES I have to do first, because that was my first game system and it is still probably my favorite. That's actually not my original that I had back when I was little, but I do still have my original one and it still works. That one I bought at a flea market and it's actually really nice looking. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Go ahead and comment your questions, concerns, or LOL and first, second, and third, as you all do. And I'll leave you with this.